Mr. Kurz, who at 31 is the youngest world leader, also reflected on an apparent shift in the global power balance in his speech at the Munich Security Conference. Speaking after the Prime Minister Theresa May called for a security treaty with the EU after Brexit, Mr. Kurz that, in the last couple of years things have changed. The leader of the Conservative People's Party OVP added that the USA has an economic power that is stronger than ever before, but they're retreating from the world stage, and that China has been filling that vacuum in political terms and economic terms. The Austrian leader later slammed the bloc's approach to border security, and said, "To ensure peace in the EU we got rid of the borders in the EU a long time ago, but without proper external border protection these borders are in danger, and something that always seemed unimaginable to me has become reality, namely that we would have border controls with the EU again." Mr. Kurz spoke in favor of the EU bolstering security on its borders, and continued, "Only if we decide who can come to us, and only if we ourselves protect the borders can we ensure that the EU without domestic borders will also be a given in the future." The Conservative leader then slammed the nature of EU's single market regulations, and continued, "To ensure wealth we as the EU have created common guidelines and established the single market, but if we look at how strong the influx of regulations has become, and if we listen to more and more small and medium-sized businesses (SMEs) complaining about this, then I think we need to realize that we can only ensure wealth if we create guidelines that are also useful for small and medium-sized enterprises. In some areas we have taken a wrong turn, as I said, and very often my feeling is that we are paralyzing ourselves. We get caught up in contradictions. We've created structures that are no longer viable." Reuters. Sebastian Kurz has criticized EU rules. Saturday, February 17, 2018. Prime Minister Theresa May rules out second referendum at the conference. Mr. Kurz went on to say, "I have often had the impression that as the European Union we are sometimes acting like an old married couple. The West complaining about the East, the North complaining about the South, and then we've got those self-proclaimed vanguard that considers themselves progressive, and they complain about those they consider to be old-fashioned." He said that if the EU wants to become stronger again it is necessary we go back to the original idea of the EU, and continued, "If we concentrate on the bigger issues within the EU we will also be able to be internationally stronger. In my opinion this is the freedom to reside, and the open borders will be guaranteed in future as well, and this means a focus on a better and stronger external border protection." Mr. Kurz continued, "I strongly believe that if as the EU become internally stronger again, if we protect our borders and ensure stability, become economically stronger, this will be the basis of becoming internationally more important again, and thereby ensure more security and stability not just in Europe but also internationally." AFPGETTY. Images. Sebastian Kurz has said EU countries should be able to better protect the borders. The Austrian leader's comments in Munich come days after the President of the European Council Donald Tusk hit out at him after their first official meeting in Vienna. Mr. Tusk said that Austria's opposition to migrant quotas is fueling populism and dividing the EU. Speaking from Vienna, he said, "When it comes to managing illegal migration, Chancellor Kurz and I have discussed this many times already, and we have similar views. Migration will remain a challenge for many years to come, which is why we want to find a solution, which is to make sure that the EU together with national states can manage future migration flow sufficiently and without creating new divisions in Europe. It is possible, but naturally all sides need to compromise. Above all, we must put an end to the destructive emotions surrounding the issues of relocation as they continue to fuel populism and divide Europe. If the issue is not resolved by ministers within the next month, we will need to find a solution at the June European Council." Theresa May used her speech in Munich this morning to say that Europe's security is our security, as called for a new treaty after Brexit. The Prime Minister also hinted that the UK could still pay cash into the EU's foreign aid budget after Brexit. Additional reporting by Monica Pallenberg.